We are a collective conscious and a cyborg sent from the year 2050, sent from a higher civilization to warn people of the incoming apocalypse.
What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to Grimm. Keep watching this video until the end today, boys and girls, because this is the craziest person I've seen on Dr. Phil. This kid legit thinks he's a cyborg from 2050 or something. So without further ado, let's just see if that's true or not.
Is he always in cyborg mode?
He's always in cyborg mode.
So he never just comes in and says, hey, Mom.
So at least this kid is keeping up with the act, you know, not just being a weirdo sometimes, and then when he's in front of people, he's this cyborg. Nah, this whole cyborg routine is a full-time job for him, so maybe it's, you know, not an act at all. I mean, sure it is, but he's about to make a fool out of himself on stage here in a minute, and I mean, I'd like to hold out some hope that, you know, maybe this kid is really half a robot cyborg here to warn us of our impending doom.
Started that once he came back home after college. There were certain expectations when he came home that I wanted him to be a part of.
The funny thing about this kid is that he uses this as an excuse to not have to do chores or help his mom out around the house and get a job. He just claims that he's tired and needs to charge up or something, and that his energy cannot be spent doing these menial tasks that these puny humans do, alright? He is a cyborg. He has bigger missions and a bigger goal in mind. Meanwhile, he's just watching Netflix on his laptop or something. That's just a hilarious image to me. This kid's a genius for thinking this one up.
Why did you take time out to come here?
Because we wish to spread our message.
So now we are meeting this kid, and yep, he's just as creepy as I was expecting. He speaks as if he's talking for both his robot side and his human side. So whenever he says things like we or our, he's really just talking about himself, for those of you that are lost. The fact that he does this all with a straight face is what makes me think that he probably must really believe this about himself and is not just trolling. Or maybe he just really likes sci-fi movies and, you know, this is his aesthetic, so he does everything in his power to make it seem legit. Who knows?
We are a collective conscious and a cyborg sent from the year 2050, sent from a higher civilization to warn people of the incoming apocalypse.
Uh-oh, guys, he's only a messenger. You know, he's gonna be the one that jolted back in time, a whole 30 years back to 2020, and he's warning us puny humans that our civilization will soon fold and will meet our demise. I bet he's gonna go on about AI or something here as being the cause of it, but let's see what he, or should I say, they think is going to happen to the world in 2050.
With environmental disaster, technological singularity, disease, and famine.
Okay, so pretty much what I expected. You know, in about 30 years, I can live the best years of my life and enjoy most of it, so I'm cool with that. As long as I can at least play Skate 4 before I die and own like a GTR or an Aventador, I'm happy to go out. You know, I guess I can pass up on my old years anyways, since I guess my funnest times will be behind me by then.
We are already mechanized.
But you're not mechanized now.
We are. There is a brain implant, which is how we speak to you right now.
Yeah, Dr. Phil, you don't quite understand this futuristic technology, so Oren will excuse you for your malfeasance. But he is a straight-up brain implant, alright? He's got that new OS installed in that brain of his, and that's why he's already mechanized partway, okay? I'm just glad he didn't raise his hand and blast Dr. Phil away with his proton laser for making that mistake and calling him non-mechanized, because trust me, I've seen him do it before.
We will become fully mechanized as in the commercial sense shown on our shirt.
Okay,
But we are already mechanized.
This kid's even out here doing screen-printed sweatshirts for his brand. Like, maybe this really is just a weird art kid aesthetic thing. I could totally see it going that way. Either way, I admire his commitment. That's kind of lit, you know? Maybe he's just on this show to promote his brand and get some merch sales so that his mom gets off his back about getting a job like a normal adult. Silly mother, robots don't get jobs.
What part of you is mechanized?
Our brain, our legs.
Okay, your legs are mechanized?
Inside, yes. We've had operations.
Okay.
This dude is intense, bro. He's claiming he's got steel legs that were installed in order for him to be at peak physical performance and so that he can stay alive. I'm just sad Dr. Phil didn't have an x-ray machine on the side of the stage ready for this so that he can obviously prove whether or not this kid is lying and whether or not he has these so-called mechanized legs. Obviously he doesn't, so it would have been hilarious to see him get exposed for it and lying about it on TV.
That didn't come from 2050. That's a very well publicized position. today.
So now Dr. Phil has this whole supposed world-ending scenario up on screen that this kid claims is definitely going to happen, and is showing that this kid isn't bringing any new ideas to the table at all, which is exactly what I was saying earlier on in this video. I mean, it's probably because this stuff is bound to happen, so it would just make the most sense, but still, he's claiming things that even people now are predicting. You know, it's not like he is actually from the future and brought us any new concrete details on how the planet is going to be extinct one day. Instead, he's just rehashing these ideas that we already make way too many movies about. You know, now that I think about it, this kid probably just watched too many movies and got ahead of himself. I wish he took some inspiration from Interstellar, though. It would be pretty funny to see a human try and move around like Tars from that movie.
Just come down.
You are
Just come
disturbing our
down.
operations.
Listen,
We are
listen,
receiving
just come
programming.
down.
We are watching video. We are learning
Learning what?
about the future.
This kid even exposes himself by saying he needs to learn about the future, even though, in his words, he is from the future. Got him! I love that Dr. Phil is basically in detective mode here with this kid right now, you know, just trying to dissect all this stuff that he has said so that he can prove that this kid is just talking in circles and basically faking all this cyborg stuff because his mom is putting pressure on him to move out and have a normal job now that he's an adult.
You could have a whole lot greater impact by approaching this in a way that would be taken more seriously.
So basically, Dr. Phil is explaining to this kid that he doesn't care why he claims he's a cyborg. You know, he's not even tripping over the fact that this kid is or isn't. He simply is explaining to him that in order for him to actually make a difference and have people care about what he's talking about when it comes to this environmental waste, which is apparently going to be the downfall of us all, and you know, the rise of AI, he needs to go on about it in a more normal way, all right? Or else everyone that just sees him as being this weird half cyborg kid isn't gonna want to listen to anything he actually has to say.
Your mother enables him.
She is a really nice person, and so I feel like she's really patient.
So the mom isn't exactly doing the best job of parenting this kid at this point either, because I know you want to be delicate with your kid. Obviously, he came back from college acting like a cyborg, so I mean, something is up there, but there's a fine line between being understanding and straight up enabling. And let's be honest, she is just completely enabling this weirdo by letting him stay at her place and cooks food for him and everything, like he's a child still, even though he's out of college. And it's pretty common knowledge at this point that he is doing all of this just to avoid having to get a real job and start his adult life. So I mean, why would you let him keep on with his delusion?
So guys, real quick, I have a super fast challenge that only takes 5 seconds to complete. So if you can leave a like and subscribe within the next 5 seconds, you'll get 10 years of amazing luck. Just give it a try, it really works.
I can't diagnose sitting here, but I can tell you what would be on my short list. One thing is delusional disorder.
So Dr. Phil isn't one to diagnose people because there's a lot more to it than you can possibly gather from just talking to someone on stage for an hour, and you know, it can be pretty damaging to someone to be misdiagnosed with something. But he does think this all could be related to some sort of delusional disorder, especially a grandiose delusional disorder, where something got switched up in this dude's brain basically, and now he really is convinced that he is a cyborg, even though there's no evidence at all pointing towards the fact that he is. And in reality, he probably just had an insane trip or something at college that messed up his brain, and he's using this to deal with some stress in his life. I mean, this kid is over here in his room with a laser light show going on 24/7 so that in his own words, he can stay focused, which is a bit extra. Like, obviously this guy believes what he's saying, even though it couldn't be further from the truth, and a normal person would be able to realize they're not a cyborg.
You put on the board grandiose or delusion. Is not everyone delusional? Does not everyone believe that they have some special talent or hidden recognition to get them through the day?
Oh, now he's standing up for himself on stage here. You know, he does bring up a sort of good point here. Sure, a lot of people are slightly delusional, and you kind of need delusion to get you through the dull sea of nothingness that is existence sometimes. But look, kid, not everyone is going to be going on Dr. Phil's show because they think they're a half robot and talk like they're in Detroit Become Human or something. All right, I'd say your delusions are a bit stronger than most people's. Even though that was a funny point to bring up, I don't think Dr. Phil is even going to acknowledge that. I mean, it's pretty clear this kid is kind of far gone in the head right now.
What is reality, though?
That's my point. You can decide that.
So this kid keeps interrupting Dr. Phil, and at this point he's just trying to cling on to this, even though Dr. Phil is straight up serving him some facts right now about his situation. Like, there are so many reasons he's probably acting out like this and, you know, trying to make himself something that he's not, but everyone with a normal functioning brain can easily see that this guy is not a cyborg, no matter how much he wants us to believe it. It's cool he's got his own sweatshirts and everything, and that he's got this whole aesthetic going, but it's really not a healthy delusion delusion to be living in, especially when it's prohibiting him from living his life and going out and becoming an adult. And this whole cyborg thing just doesn't exist, dude. You're not a Terminator or a being from the future. You're a bored, confused young adult that doesn't quite know what he wants yet to do with his life, and is using this whole cyborg thing as a cover-up for that to, I don't know, waste time until he figures something out. You know, this is just a simple scenario that happens all the time. Turns out once you start telling yourself something crazy for long enough, you start to believe it, and this is a perfect example of that. So let me know what you guys thought down in the comments of this story. Hopefully none of you actually believe he's a cyborg, because clearly he's not. But anyways, as always, I'll see you guys in the next video, and until then, peace out.